Hi everyone, it's Sherry Chaney-Jones, President and Founder of MeasurementResources.co.com and author of the award-winning book, Impact and Excellence, Data-Driven Strategies to Align Mission, Culture, and Performance in Nonprofit and Government Organizations. I am so excited and grateful that you've decided to join me today because I'm going to share something with you that I've wanted to share with you for a very long time. I'm going to be training in this video series the 6 skills mastered by every high-achieving government and nonprofit leader. And these skills help these leaders attract all the resources and support they need to truly take their mission to the next level, to change more lives, change more circumstances. But more importantly, I'm going to be teaching you, how I, and every other social sector leader can use these skills to take their own mission to the next level. And what I mean by high achieving isn't so much about a title. It doesn't mean that someone is the president and CEO of a nonprofit or the senior official in a government organization. But what I mean by high achieving is that these leaders could get things done. They get results. They are making huge changes for their organization, and they are able to change lives and change circumstances in a very meaningful way and leave the world a much better place than where it was before they started doing their work. So whether you are just starting out in this field and you're a new graduate and you just now got your first job at a government or nonprofit organization, or you're a social entrepreneur who's trying to figure this all out so you can make a difference in the world, or that you've worked in government for a long time, or you're running a worldwide foundation, this webinar series is for you. Because you've signed up for this video, I know that you have a big mission, you have a big vision, and you have a lot of great things to do in this world, or you wouldn't even be attracted to this and want to watch this video. But you may be struggling with finding all the money that you need to do this work, finding the support you need, the resources you need. What is that next step? You know that if you could attract more people to your organization, have more resources for your cause, more people knew about you, you could scale, you could make such a big difference for the lives that you serve. But you may be frustrated. You may be frustrated with those around you. You present your big ideas and what you're trying to do, and maybe they don't get it, or maybe they like to play it safe. They like to maintain the status quo, or maybe they're just kind of going through the motions, wait until they want to retire, or maybe it's bureaucracy. Maybe your coworkers are fine and your board is fine. However, there's just a lot of red tape. There's a lot of things you have to overcome in order to get your mission done. And every step you move, you feel like you're faced with a block or a barrier. And you want more. You want to figure out how to overcome this, how to take your organization to the next level. And I get it. I have been there. I have worked with thousands of high-achieving social sector leaders just like you and have helped them look at the situation and figure out how they can take their organization to the next level. Prior to Measurement Resources, I was a social sector leader too. I worked in the field for over 10 years at both the county and state level. And I remember back then when I got my first job as a government employee, I was so excited. I didn't necessarily think that that was going to be the career path for me. I never thought, oh, I'm going to work in government one day. But an opportunity came for me to use my academic skills and training in industrial and organizational psychology to help a county organization become more efficient and effective and evaluate and measure their programs. And I thought this was the perfect fit for my passion and my academic skills to do this. But when I got into that environment, I realized really quickly that it was different. It was different than a corporate situation. And of course there were some of the same challenges, but some of the challenges were a lot different. I wasn't really prepared for the issue when you're dealing with political figures and elected officials. I wasn't also dealt with the kind of bureaucracy and the status quo and the mediocrity that kind of was a little bit, at least in my opinion or my experience, pervasive throughout the sector. But I wasn't going to settle for this. I remember people would say, oh, you're naive, Sherry. You'll eventually kind of lose that ambition, lose that big thinking. And I wasn't going to stand for it. So I tried to figure out, what do I need to do as a leader to figure out how I can truly move this mission forward and truly make a better impact for the organizations that I served and for, more importantly, the clients that we served. So I would apply the knowledge and skills that I had learned in different situations to see what really worked in this setting and what didn't. I also would read tons of books and go to any professional training that I could get my hands on and experiment with those things. And I finally learned what worked, how to kind of move the needle, how to move people to the next level, even if I had no influence, meaning like I wasn't their manager, or they didn't have to report to me, or maybe they were a political official or higher level than me, how I could get them on board to our mission to take our organization to the next level. And I wanted to share this with so many people. So in 2010, I launched Measurement Resources Company. And many of you who've read Impact and Excellence, you know that story. You know for the past 6 years, I've been out there training and working with other government and nonprofit leaders and helping them create high-performance measurement cultures in their organization. And, they're getting a lot of traction and a lot of great work learning how to create these cultures in their organization that helps them attract more revenues, more external support, more efficiencies in their organization. But what I found through all this work is that there was two types of leaders. There was the first leader who would go through my training and be all excited about it and go back in their organization, and they saw the results. They just took off. They were really stepping it up, getting all the funding they needed, seeing great results for their organization. And then there was this other camp. They were also really excited to take this back to their organization. But when they got back, they experienced some of those struggles that I already talked to you about, whether it was their board who said no, or their teammates didn't get it, or maybe they were seeing problems with their staff. And they would call me or email me and say, "Sherry, what should I do?" And I was really trying to figure out what was the difference. Why were some of these leaders being able to overcome these common barriers and challenges that we all face, and these other leaders were kind of stuck. They didn't know what to do next. And I wanted to figure it out, because I want everybody to create these high-performance measurement cultures, and I don't want anything to step in their way and become a barrier. So I did my research. I am a researcher at heart, so that's the only way I know how to solve a problem, was I started to study and really analyze and look at who was successful and who wasn't. And so I've come up with these 6 skills mastered by high-achieving leaders. And more importantly, I have developed what I'm calling now the High-Achieving Social Sector Leader Framework. And I'm going to be teaching that today so you can master these skills as well. So the first thing I found that every high-achieving social sector leader is able to master is their ability to pioneer. And I know you might say, "Sherry, that's kind of a really strange word. What do you mean by pioneer?" Well, let me share with you the definition of pioneer, or a definition of to pioneer, is described as taking someone or being a part of the beginning of something. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's something revolutionary. Of course, we can think of, what originally comes to mind when we say pioneers is those people who came over from England and other places and founded the United States. But what I mean by pioneer isn't so much that you're starting some radical new change, like the pioneers of the space race, and they went up in air balloons to see how far they could fly, or pioneers of flight, or even like Martin Luther King, who was the pioneer of a civil rights movement. You may be leading a brand new mission and vision like that, something nobody else has done, and that's great. But what I mean by this is the high-achieving social sector leaders are able to cultivate a new purpose and vision for those that they serve and help them see the future. So they're pioneering, or they're cultivating that vision and purpose to help them get to that next level. And so here's a question that high-achieving social sector leaders can ask themselves on a daily basis to help them hone and practice their pioneering skills. And the question they can ask themselves is, what will I do today that will help advance my mission and purpose, right? This is something we all can do, is because it is our job as a high-achieving social sector leader to get other people on board, to motivate and inspire others. So when you wake up in the morning, very simple, while you're in the shower or driving to work, just ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can do today to move my organization, move my mission forward? Is that one conversation, that one email exchange, calling up that one supporter, writing one press release? What's that one thing? So that's the question high-achieving social sector leaders ask about pioneering. Now, the second skill that is mastered by high-achieving social sector leaders is their ability to partner. High-achieving social sector leaders have honed their ability to develop collaborations and partnerships that help them take their mission to the next level. And when I talk about partnerships, I don't just mean external partnerships like we typically think about, but this can be a partnership with anyone. This can be partnerships with their coworkers, partnerships with their team, those subordinates under them, the politicians above them, the external partners that we think about, their donors, their funders. It's just they think of everybody in their life as a potential partner to help them get to the next level. And social problems are complex. They're complicated, right? We can't do it alone. We need others to help us get there. So I'll use a personal example to help illustrate this point. I am a mother of 4 kids, and my mission as a parent is to grow them and develop them so they become responsible citizens, right? But I can't do this alone. It would be near impossible for me to achieve those outcomes if I did it alone, right? I need to partner with educational systems. I need to partner with community programs so they can have new experiences, cultural programs like zoos and museums and science centers so they can have new experiences that they can't learn at home or in the book. I need to partner with my church. I need to partner with my family. I need all of those partnerships to really help my children become a productive member of society. And your organizations are no different. Your clients are no different. So what question high-achieving social sector leaders ask themselves on a monthly basis is, who should I be partnering with to take my organization and my mission to the next level? And how can I get them involved? How do I make this happen, right? So maybe monthly you just kind of look at where you are today, look at where you want to go, and ask, is there anybody else that I'm not currently partnering with that I should be bringing in and communicating with to take this organization to the next level? Can you do that? I think it's pretty easy. I challenge you to do that. Now, the next skill that high-achieving social sector leaders has mastered is their ability to plan. High-achieving social sector leaders understand the importance of, and they get excited about, a solid strategy and a solid strategic plan. We all know the famous quote that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And that is so true. Because without a really solid strategic plan, you're just kind of going through the motions. You're dealing with fires, you're putting them out, right? And I'm always surprised at how many government and nonprofit organizations aren't operating day to day from a strategic plan. They might say, oh yeah, we had one. We did that a few years ago, but that never really went anywhere. Or yeah, we've never really put one in place. We're going to do that in the future. It just blows my mind, because how are you going to get to that next level without having a solid plan to get there? And not just a plan. Sometimes they do have a great plan, a fundraising plan or a grant writing plan, or these little plans, and they're important, and keep doing those because those are really good. But they don't have a plan that aligns their activities to their desired results. And in addition to that, you need to have measures. High-achieving social sector leaders understand the importance of having measures that let them know if they are moving towards that plan, if they're achieving those results, achieving those goals, because without that, you don't really know where you're going. So we see that in the high-achieving social sector leaders, they bring that measurement component to the table. And they also then understand that using these plans helps them better pioneer and partner, because they can go to their partnerships and say, hey, look, this is where we want to go. These are our measures that are going to let us know if we're getting there. And this is our plan to get there. And now a potential partner is like, wow, they have the strategy, they have the vision. I want to get on board, because they know that those are the keys to success. So if you want to be a high-achieving social sector leader, or even if you already are and you want to step it up your game one more, what you need to do is really kind of think about this plan on a day-to-day basis. So every single morning, while you're thinking about what is those one thing I'm going to do today to advance my mission and vision, the second question you can ask yourself is, what are the 3 most important things I need to do today to move my mission and vision forward? and do those first before anything else. So this is something that I do in my own practice. We have our staff meeting at 9. I get to work by 8, and everybody knows that what I'm going to do in that first hour is focus on those first 3 things that I need to do to move my organization forward. Maybe it's to make a phone call or do an email or write an article or write a blog or do something that I know is going to help advance our mission of helping more government and nonprofits strive for high performance measurement cultures. And I do those first. My team knows it. I'll put out their fires eventually, but I'm going to do those 3 things first. And I want you to challenge you to do the same thing. All right, so the next strategy in the high-performing social sector leader framework is pivot. High-achieving social sector leaders has mastered their ability to pivot. And again, you might think that's a strange word, but really what I mean is they've mastered their ability to look around and see what is going on and changing. They embrace change. They know very well how to manage successful organizational change. Peter Drucker has given us a really good framework to think about how and when to manage change, right? He said that planning for uncertainty is asking ourselves what has already happened in the past that's going to create the future. And this is something that high-achieving social sector leaders are also doing. They're kind of scanning their environment, trying to figure out what's already happened that's going to create our future. We live in very uncertain times, especially for government and nonprofit organizations, right? Because we often have to deal with revolving leadership, whether it's a political official that we report to that gets reelected every 2 to 4 years, or maybe it's our board president who rotates every year or 2 years. And with this change comes new ideas, new priorities, new philosophies, new thoughts. And so we're always trying to figure out, okay, how does this new person or this new policy or this new process impact the work that I'm doing, and what do I need to do to advance, right? The leaders who I would say aren't necessarily yet high-achieving social sector leaders, they use this as an excuse. They use this as a barrier to keep their mission going. They're like, oh, well, our new politics or the new person in office doesn't share my big vision and mission, and they just kind of wait then. But high-achieving social sector leaders don't take that as an excuse. They figure out how to move beyond that and how to take it to the next level. And so they're thinking about what's already happened that's going to create the future, and they rely on their pioneering skills, right, to cast that vision, to think about what is that resistance to change, to take somebody to the next level, and they rely on their partners and their planning to help get that done. So something that high-achieving social sector leaders, a question that they can ask themselves to figure out how to take this organization to the next level, is to ask this question. And I would say you ask this question monthly. When you're asking yourself about who should be partnering with, maybe ask yourself this same question as well. Is there anything that's happened in my world this month that's going to create the future? It might be a change in turnover, a change in leadership, a new policy, a new program, a new social media tool. I don't know. It could be anything. But just asking yourself what that is and getting ahead of it and figuring out how you're going to navigate that or put a plan in place that's going to help you move you into the next direction, okay? Can you do that? Now, the 5th skill in the high-achieving social sector leader framework is prove. High-achieving social sector leaders have mastered their ability to prove their organization's impact and excellence. They embrace that. They embrace to be able to have data to tell their organization's story. They're excited about it, and they look for ways to do that. Gone are the days where organizations can just use a pretty picture of a kid and a great testimonial to gain support for their organization. People are more strategic these days. Something happened after the Great Recession that shifted the way donors give. Right? During the Great Recession, everyone kind of buckled down and weren't as giving just because the economy was the way it is. And now that the economy is getting better, people are giving again. However, they're doing it more strategically. They're asking different questions. They want to see impact. They want to know how they are making a difference and being part of that impact. So high-achieving social sector leaders figure out what are their partners' whys. What do the partners want to accomplish? And they have data and information to prove that that partnering with their organization will also help that donor or that individual giver achieve those missions as well. So an example from my world is when I was working with the Ohio Department of Aging, we had a program called the Passport Program. And this program was for seniors who wanted to stay in their own homes, and they were sick enough, meaning they qualified for nursing home care, that's how sick they were, and they were also low income and they qualified for Medicaid. Now in Ohio, long-term care, nursing home is the entitlement. So if you are, again, sick enough and poor enough, you can go and stay in a nursing home to receive that care. And the Passport program provided services to help them stay in their own homes. And what we knew is that this program was a lot cheaper than nursing home care. We also knew that this is what Ohioans wanted. Nobody really wants to move to a nursing home. And we also knew that they had better health outcomes. People were healthier and happier when they stayed in their own home versus going to a nursing home. However, this was during the budget crisis, and everybody kind of had this policy, all policymakers had this kind of practice that we just need to slash everything. Everything needs to be cut. But we knew that by cutting these programs was actually going to increase state funding towards Medicaid. And we didn't want that, plus all the seniors that were going to be impacted and were going to have to move to nursing homes. So we had to figure out how to prove it. Because without proof, just rhetoric or just telling these stories, it wasn't going to move the policymakers off their decision point, right? Because they were dealing with a budget crisis after all. So during that time, I created a calculator, which I called the long-term care savings calculator. And what this calculator did is it was an interactive calculator that allowed policymakers to look and see how their decisions were going to impact Ohioans and also impact the state budget. And this didn't happen right away. So we implemented this and we were trying to sway the politicians. And originally, the budget process must have already been happening. They did cut the program, but we kept at it. We kept sharing our story. We found partners to come on board with us. And after 10 months, the policymakers decided to reinstate the funding. And this just doesn't happen. If you've ever dealt with state budget cycles, you know once your budget's cut, you have to wait a while. But with data, with the ability to prove it, we're able to get the funding that supported these seniors back. And so high-achieving social sector leaders are asking themselves, what data do we need to prove our impact, to prove our unarguable value? And I thank my friend Christy Farmbaugh for this phrase, unarguable value. And basically what it means is, what is it about your organization that just is so important to the community that if you close your doors tomorrow, people would know, it would impact people, people would care. And so it's your job as a high-achieving social sector leader to understand what that unarguable value is and make sure that you have data to prove it, to communicate the importance of your organization. Okay, now we're at the last skill of the high-performing social sector leader, and that skill is persist. High-achieving social sector leaders have mastered their ability to persist. They don't give up, right? I mean, we can't just try one thing and expect it all to be great. They are committed to their mission. They're going to do it at all costs, ethically, of course, but they're going to find a way to make it happen. They're going to find a way to change lives and change circumstances, and they're going to overcome obstacles and barriers. They know that great risk comes with great reward. They are not afraid of failure. The leaders who get stuck are so afraid of failure, but we have to remember, and one thing that's helped me, and hopefully will help you kind of overcome failure, is that we live in a culture that rewards failures, right? And you're like, what are you talking about? We don't reward failures. Well, yes, we do. Think of our great inventors like Thomas Edison. He failed over and over and over again in trying to perfect the light bulb so it will stay on long, and we now have lights the way we have it today. Or we can think about a sports legend like Michael Jordan, who was cut or didn't make varsity. I'm not sure what the exact story is, but I remember learning it as a young girl to help me keep trying and keep going to the next level. And now he's a sports legend. Or we can think of technology greats like Steve Jobs, who was fired from his own company, but he had a vision about how technology was going to change the future, and he just kept persisting, and he made that happen, and we now know how he has changed so many lives and circumstances. And the only difference between those greats and everybody else is they didn't give up. right? They didn't see it as a failure. They saw it as a way to refine, get better, and take it to the next level. And that's what high-achieving social sector leaders know as well. They create a culture of high performance in their organization, one that they use data and information to improve, to take it to the next level. They persist, and they continually move forward and refine their process, and they refine their ability to achieve all those 6 skills, right? They persist in their ability to pioneer. They persist in their ability to partner. They persist in their ability to plan. They persist in their ability to pivot, and they persist in their ability to prove. So, as a high-achieving social sector leader, a question that you can ask, and we use this all the time in our practice, is what worked and what didn't? And what are we going to do next time to make sure it works better? So a strategy, a tip, a tool that I want to give you that was given to me by my coach and mentor, Fabian Fredrickson, is called the Groundhog Day exercise. And it's named after that movie with Bill Murray, The Groundhog Day, where, he has to live the same day over and over again. And essentially what this exercise is that after every maybe new change or new program or new process or even something you've been doing for a really long time, you just look at it and say, what has worked about this? What hasn't worked about it? And what little shifts or big shifts would we do different next time? And then you can't just ask those questions. You have to then actually take the answers and implement those changes. And then when you do it again, you continue to ask this question. You continue to refine and improve your process. So that's a really simple strategy that you can implement to make your organization move forward. So there you have it, the 6 skills that are mastered by every high-achieving social sector leader. The good news for you and for me is that every high-achieving social sector leader can achieve these skills, right? When I started out, I wasn't as high-achieving as I am now, but I learned these skills. I honed these skills to make sure that we could take our mission to the next level, and the organizations that I worked for could take their mission to the next level. So you can do these. You can apply these as well. Consistently asking yourself the questions that we taught in this training on a daily or monthly basis, and just thinking about those questions. Those are easy questions. Those are practical steps. Just asking yourself those questions alone will help you become above your peers and become much higher achieving social sector leader. Now in the next video training, I will be sharing with you the secret strategies you can use to get anybody on board with your ideas, right? And deal with those naysayers and the people that when you come back and you're like, hey, I've got this great idea and this didn't work last time and let's do this differently, and they may want to play it small. I'm going to teach you how you can overcome that, because that definitely is something that will happen when you start to become more high achieving. But I know that you can do this. And more importantly, I know that your clients need you to do this. They need you to become more high achieving because they need your services and they need you to make a greater impact for them and for the communities that you serve. So to help you on your path, I'm going to issue you a challenge. I'm going to issue you the High Achieving Social Sector Leader Challenge. And what this challenge is it will help you practice your pioneering skills, your partnering skills, and your planning skills, right? Okay, so I want you to create a video about your organization or your mission. And what I want you to do is, in this video, tell me who you are, what you do, what your big mission is, what your impact is, and if you have data to prove it, please share that as well. And then you're going to take this video and you're going to just post it to YouTube. It doesn't have to be a fancy video. It's okay if you do it on your phone. Don't worry about quality. It's just practicing getting your message out there, practicing pioneering that vision, right? So you're gonna shoot this short video telling us that. You're gonna post it to YouTube. Then you're gonna put the link to that YouTube video in the chat section below, okay? So you're gonna put it there. We're gonna take those videos and we're gonna then feature you on our Achieving Excellence community. So this is a newsletter that we send out that goes to a national audience. We'll also share it with you on social media. Okay, will you do that? Take the High Achieving Social Sector Leader Challenge. I know you can do it. I can't wait to see what you're doing. Now, Thanks again for being here. I was really excited to share these tips for you. I hope that you can see how these are going to make you even more high achieving. It's going to help you take your organization and mission to the next level. I would love your feedback. I welcome continuous improvement and continuous learning. I like to practice what I preach. So whether it's good or bad, please post your comments, your feedback in the section below. Also, if you have any questions about this video, I'll be in there checking it and figuring out and responding to you and engaging with you, because I love to know who we're training. So please feel free to post your comments in there and share your stories and ask your questions. And if you like this video, or if you know other high-achieving social sector leaders who you think would benefit from this training, please share it, let them know about it. I want to train as many high-achieving social sector leaders as possible. So thanks again for your time today. Until next time, keep measuring and achieving excellence.